There's several bills out there. We still have a bill of Medicaid expansion from last year that the House passed that hasn't made it over to the Senate yet, or it is sitting in the Senate. I do believe I've just got new stats for my district anyway, of what this means to my critical access hospitals. And with the 84 critical access hospitals we have in the state, most of them are operating in the red, probably about 40–45%, if I remember the stats right. So I think it is very crucial for the hospitals for the Medicaid expansion. I do have 6 of those hospitals in my district, and so I did a survey last year on Medicaid expansion, and 73% of my constituency wanted the Medicaid expansion.
Senator Denning over in the Senate has spent 2 years working on a plan that he looked at other states, you know, what works, what doesn't work, such things as, you know, a lot of folks want to make sure that there's a work requirement. Well, this is passed in other states, but not one state's been able to implement it yet. So he's got a work path piece that's put in there, which that eventually will get people to work if they're not working. And some reinsurance and some other things like that. So as far as the bill, it's a much better bill than the one that was passed in the House last year, which was done on the fly on the floor, and I think it has a lot of problems. So we'll just have to wait and see. I think it's probably a good chance that if they get everything else worked out, that there will be a bill. And the bill in the Senate has 22 co-sponsors. It only takes 21 to pass that. So that's why I say I think that at some point in time it will happen.
I read something yesterday that the President of the Senate took every bill that was in the House Committee of the Senate that could be discussed on as a committee of the whole in the Senate back to committee. Leadership wants the amendment that didn't pass yesterday to be successful, and then the train will get back on the tracks. There'll be some horse wrangling and everything else to see what happens, and that's probably what's going on this weekend, and we'll see what Monday morning brings.
As the budget chairman for the Kansas House of Representatives, I have a reluctancy with Medicaid expansion due to the sheer cost of what that could be to the state, and we don't know what that cost is. We do know that 90% of that's going to be paid by the federal government. The state of Kansas has a 10% share that we have to pick up. Being on that special committee on Medicaid expansion, that amount varied from anywhere from $40 million to $120 million a year. When we're trying to put a budget together, it's very difficult to put a variable in place that we don't know that dollar amount is going to be. We also have an increasing amount that's going year after year to address the Supreme Court decision in regards to education finance for K-12 education. We haven't fully maxed that out yet. Now, granted, the state of Kansas did end fiscal year 2019 with $1.1 billion in ending reserves. But also included in that was the transfer that was supposed to go to the Kansas Department of Transportation that did not go there. And when we're trying to put together the new transportation plan, the only funding mechanism for forward is what the program is called now, that may be subject to change, is to have that full transfer go to the Department of Transportation. So if we take that out of the ending balances, and we also consider the amount that's going to K-12 education, maintaining our payment to capers, the ending balances go down quite considerably over the next outlying years. We just came out of a situation in 2018 where we were fighting a deficit situation every single year when we came back to January. We're now in what I would call a state of solvency, but we still need to be cautious, and we need to be extremely cautious when we add a particular line item to the budget that we don't know what the cost of the state of Kansas will be.
We have to rethink the hospital system, and I think the Hospital Association agrees with me that we need to rethink of what we're doing with hospitals in rural Kansas that can better meet the needs of rural Kansans. It's just the old model is not working. It's expensive and we're not taking care of rural Kansans. So there's, I mean, it just seems like such a one big issue, but it's many, many complex issues that everyone is trying to work on.
I think as a doctor, I've always learned to not look at issues in silos. And I think you have to look at healthcare for the whole rural America. And we have hospitals that are underutilized in rural America. You've got empty beds here, you've got capacity here. I want to do everything I can to make Hayes Hospital successful, Colby Hospital successful. There's a couple one-off issues that I'm working on very hard. Prior authorization and surprise billing. Surprise billing, you have to take a helicopter ride from here to Wichita and you find out the helicopter was out of network and you got a $50,000 bill, something that Medicare says it's worth $8,000 and they're counter billing you. So I think we're getting real close to get something through the House and the Senate on that issue. Prescription prices is something I hear the Democrats want to do. The problem is our solutions are different. I want innovation. I want increased competition. They want government control. Also working very hard on telemedicine. So we could talk about mental health and opioid and meth use and all the addiction issues.